from the business point of view, उस सेम कमरा जो 1500 रुपए कमाता उसमें 500 into 8 4000 का potential.
I found it very hard to recruit people who have the skills that are required on the job.
बहुत हो गया दूसरों के लिए काम करके कुछ खुद का करते हैं.
Yes, we might not have the deep pockets for global R&D and the best R&D experts on board, but our job is to figure shit out.
Why am I just telling people what to do? Why can't I just do it?
Hi everyone. Welcome back to another Startup Talk show. Today I have with me Ujjawal, Asthana, co-founder and CEO from Zymrat. So I'll give you a little background how I came to know about Zymrat. So I was just scrolling on Instagram and I got an ad of Super Silver t-shirts from Zymrat. And I really liked the pictures and all were looking good. I liked the product. So I tried, I wanted to order, I ordered the product and I was very skeptical that how would the quality be, because I've faced a lot of issues when I've ordered online through Instagram ads and the quality has not been that great. So I had to return the products. So I ordered one product and it came and I really liked the product. So I went to LinkedIn and found out who's the founder of the company. I messaged Ujjawal that I really like the product and all the best. You're doing a great job. Because we were finding a lot of difficulties in getting good quality product in stores, even online also. That's why. So there I came to know about Zymrat. So welcome Ujjawal on the show.
Thanks a lot, Siddhant, for having me here. Always a pleasure connecting with people with like-minded, thought process and from the community. And, great to be here. And, would like to take the opportunity to wish you and everybody else who's watching and listening this talk a very happy and prosperous New Year, guys.
Yeah, happy New Year to everyone. This is the first video of the New Year for 2022. Yeah.
This is the first. I wouldn't say video call because Ankita and I, we both have been having doing multiple interviews across the vertical hiring has been happening, but more like a chit chat kind of conversation. Definitely, it's the first one for me as well in the year.
Great. Ujjwal, so tell us about yourself. How did the idea of starting up on your own company hit you? Like this is the time you want to start something, and what problems you saw in the market that you wanted to solve through this?
Right, Siddhant. So, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur, or more like I have been self-employed for a very long time, right? So I worked full-time, like a 9-to-5 setup for a very short period of time from 2007 to 2010. Mm-hmm. I was working in an IT giant in India. And then, after that, I kind of moved away from, the full-time job setup. And then I started freelancing. I started building my own applications in 2010 itself. That time, mm-hmm. Facebook was, I would say, kind of had just started picking up in India and across the globe as well, of course. Mm-hmm. So me and a couple of my friends, we tried building our own applications, failed miserably at it. Tried another 2 or 3 applications again, got some traffic, but nothing, kind of worked out pretty well, which could have converted into a business. Mm-hmm. So, ultimately we had to pay the bills, right? So we started consulting, we started freelancing, and ended up building a small boutique consulting firm for ourselves, for myself, out of Bangalore. And we kind of have had the honor of working with some of the best people from across the world, like, some Fortune 500 companies, couple of Y Combinator funded startups, and many more, some venture 360 startups from Canada, and many more startups and bigger enterprises, right here from Bangalore. So that kind of that was one of the most successful stints I had, as an entrepreneur in my start from 2011 to 2016. So that was a 5-year period when, I was doing this software consulting, technology consulting company in Bangalore. But the interesting thing is, Siddhant, what happens is, I always tell this story to people. Imagine a guy in his early 20s, right? And earning in dollars, because when you freelance, when you consult for companies from across the world, you of course earn, and then spending in rupees, living in a city like Bangalore, which is known as a watering hole of the country, right? So I did gain a lot of weight. I almost became 95, 97 kilos at around my height, which is 5'8". And it was just getting out of hand. And then one fine day, I realized that, I have to do something about it. And then for a good 12 to 18 months, I just invested myself into fitness and getting myself into shape, right? So
Mhm.
I come from a very normal middle class background where, I did have exposure to sports like cricket, basketball, but we were never into any serious fitness activities, right? I mean,
Right.
90s
Yeah.
kids, probably a lot of people will relate.
Mhm.
So mid 20s when I started picking up fitness activities with a lot of seriousness, like running. I used to run 5 kilometers every single day. It was very, very,
Wow.
I know 5 kilometers is very small kilometers, but for me at the start, it was huge. I used to swim for an hour every day. I used to go to gym for an hour every day. So that was my, it became a life. Like, I wanted to
Mhm.
become the best version of myself.
Right.
And while I became the best version of myself, I would say I lost quite a lot of weight, became very fit over 1.5, 2 years. One of the best things that happened with me during this period, Siddhant, was I became very, very active in the community. And community, when I say, people who are already into fitness, like, people like gym owners, people who run CrossFit gyms,
Mhm.
people who run communities, marathon runners.
Right.
And the more I spoke to these people, the more I realized that how tightly knit this community of fitness and active lifestyle was.
Correct.
And it was not just me who was facing the problem of price versus quality when it came to products, of active lifestyle. It was the community at large.
Mhm.
So this was the first time when I kind of started getting a hint of this problem, because what used to happen, to be honest, and I think a lot of people would relate to it. You walk into Nike showroom. Of course, Under Armour was not there in India yet. You walk into a Nike showroom, you walk into an Adidas showroom, and you like the product, but despite how much money you have in your pocket, sometimes you just walk out of the showroom because you feel, oh man, this is like damn expensive for me, right? And
Mhm.
I'm not talking about or referring up to the products which let's say you find in brand factories or EORS sales, like on marketplaces. I'm talking about the products which are extremely high quality, which are out there in the top shelf of the showroom, right?
Mhm.
So this was the problem which kind of started the whole seed of Zymrat in my mind. And then, of course, later on in the life, I'm talking about 16, 17 era. And
Yeah.
then at the same time, I also met Ankita through a common community event. And then I found out that she is also kind of resonates with this problem very much. And then, of course, the Zimrat happened, and then everything is history.
Right.
I'll start giving a little more deep introduction of Zimrat now. So when we started as a company or as a thought process to as a company or as a brand, we honestly speaking, the one of the primary focus that we had was only the prices, right? Because whenever as I mentioned, whenever you walk into a Nike showroom or something, you find out the products are extremely expensive.
Mhm.
But then when I met Ankita and then when I met a lot of other community members, a bigger problem came into picture, and that was something which was validated by in a much bigger way by hundreds of community members than even the price points.
Correct.
And that problem was that more than 70 to 80% products in these brands that all we know today as the big brands in performance wear industry, more than 70 to 80% products never see the face of India because we as a country are not considered a prime sportswear performance
Yeah.
market, right? So
Mhm.
and I think a lot of people would relate. I mean, if you look at some of the best CrossFit shoes, some of the best running shoes, some of the best weightlifting shoes,
Mhm.
or some of the best running gear, some of the most high technology t-shirts, high end shorts, with really good technology, infused into it. They're not available in India, or if they're available, they're either available very late in their life cycle, so
Correct.
2, 3, 4 years later, or at a very, very expensive price points.
Mhm.
So this was a second problem which kind of really opened our eyes and said, oh man, this is a problem which is a huge problem for the fitness community members, because we saw people importing stuff all the time. So it was kind of really haunting and hurting for us, both Ankita and me, that why can't we as Indians kind of practice our right to make and consume world-class products at the same time when the rest of the world does. So that's how Zimrat started. That's how we
Got
kind of
it.
ended up discovering the problem, Siddhant. Yeah.
So tell us about some of your products, like what different it is from others in the market. Tell us about that.
Right. So one of the things that from the day one, right, Ankita and I, we knew that we are not getting into the business of selling t-shirts, right? And none of us come from fashion backgrounds, fashion or textile, and I think I believe uh, that is also one of the biggest moats that we have, because if we had come from probably already inbuilt
Mhm.
thought processes, probably we would have cut corners, or we would have fallen into a traditional way of making products. But we knew that we have to make a brand which will stand for something, which will stand for a problem, which will solve problems at large for the community. And that's why we knew that we have to make products which will speak for itself. And we have to make products in a brand which will outlive all of us, whoever is the entity associated with Zymrat. So I would say, the shortest possible way or the shortest path to making, let's say, apparel in India is, and it's a very common thing, that you just go to some of the hubs in country like Tirupur, you go to Ludhiana, you go to Surat, and you pick whatever the available fabrics are, you make the t-shirt and start selling on Amazon. And we knew that it was a very easy thing to do. It will hardly take 15 to 30 days to kind of launch a 100% cotton or 100% polyester t-shirt on Amazon, on Amazon and Flipkart. Maybe not so much on Myntra because it takes certain guidelines to launch over there, but at least on marketplace. So we did not go that route. We completely took a different route. So we started traveling, first of all, to different parts of the world. Of course, we have had the opportunity to travel in our previous startups, in our previous jobs as well. So that had already given us a good amount of exposure in what quality of products are available in outside India and what is available in India. So we kind of reiterated everything. We started traveling again, to Taiwan, to China, to Philippines, to Sri Lanka. Of course, US and Europe has always been on the cards. And then we started collecting all these, products. We started researching how these products from the bigger brands are made, right? So what we realized, Siddhant, was that the products or the products which people are absolutely running behind or are a fan of, those products start at a very granular level of manufacturing, which is, the quality of the yarn, the quality of thread and the fabric, which is utilized to make those products. Unfortunately, when we started, we could not find anything of a very high quality in performance wear products in India, right? When it comes to apparel, when it comes to fabric threads and yarn, we could not find something which we believed that it will convert into a garment or a product which people will absolutely, kind of run behind. We could not find anything of that sort in India. So we then went outside India. We reached out to some other vendors in some other countries like Taiwan, Sri Lanka, Philippines. And then we started figuring out the raw materials from there. So what happened, what we do, Siddhant, at the, at the core level is we spend 3 to 4 times more on the raw materials and technology that we use in our products compared to any other brand in India. Now you name the brand, whether it's selling a polyester garment, whether it's selling a nylon product, whether it's selling a cotton product, or whether it's selling a bamboo product, right? Our raw materials and our technology is at least 3 to 4 times expensive, as well as 3 to 4 times superior than whatever these guys or the, some of the other brands are using. And that is why, and it has been widely validated by our customer response and the data that we have, right? Coming back to the product, how it's different. So we spend 3 to 4 times more in the raw materials. We start with something called as, filament polyester, and we chose polyester because, we knew that when we are building a premium brand, we are going to be charging a certain price points, right? So for example, a super silver t-shirt that you're wearing right now goes out for $17.99. Now, we know that this product, if it's placed in a Nike or an Under Armour showroom or any other international brand showroom, would go at least for 2,999 or 3,999. So compared to them, it's at least 40 to 50% lower price because we're D2C brand. But compared to many other brands on marketplaces, we knew that we are still on the steeper side of the price points, right? And we knew that if we are going to be this steep in price points, people expect durability, especially we Indians. We expect the products to be durable. So we chose certain specific raw materials in polyester. We engineered them, we treated them with our vendors to make them even more durable, to make them even more softer than what polyester is in its original form. And we chose to make them softer because when we started Zymrat, we spoke to a community at large, close to 300 people, I would say. And one of the common problems that one of the common voices that always came out and during this conversation was the fact that Indian brands, products that you find in big box retailers or marketplaces are very synthetic, have a very synthetic, strong and synthetic feel to it, which is not so much there in international brand products. And that is why they are able to command price, or that is why we kind of keep running behind those. So we chose these specific raw materials. We treated them in certain specific way, which makes them even more durable, even more softer, and even more, friendly for Indian climate and Indian conditions. And then on top of that, we started researching on some of the technologies which can enhance the performance and enhance the features that that goes into the product. So once we had the raw materials and once we had the fabrics and all those sorted out, we started researching on technology part of things. So now when I say technology, Siddhant, I mean the treatments, the features that go into products, right? So for example, Super Silver T-shirt. So Super Silver T-shirt is one of its kind, first of its kind, not only in India but globally, right? Because Super Silver T-shirts come with silver ions infused into them, which prevents the T-shirt from smelling, or let's say which prevents the problem of odor for straight away 7 days, even though whether you choose to wash it or not. I mean, of course, people wash it for hygienic reasons, but let's say if somehow you're on trekking, adventure sports or something, you've gone to a mountain, you're not able to wash it, it will not smell right. So we kind of started researching on those kind of technologies, what we'll need to do to make T-shirts even more high performance, even more friendlier for people. And then we kind of figured out certain technologies, which we have kind of, copyrighted in India and kind of launched in the market. So we currently have, all these activewear performance products, and soon enough, we are going to be launching into kind of multiple other categories as well.
Got it. Also, just wanted to understand, is your manufacturing outsourced or you kept it in-house? How you ensure, if it is outsourced, how do you ensure the proper quality it goes out to the consumers?
Right. That's a very interesting question, because I think one of the questions which comes up very, very often. So manufacturing, everything that happens in Zymrat is in-house, number one, right? So we have had this thought process from day one. And when I say everything, I mean, right from the conceptualization of the product to the research part, to the development, to the decision, to the end game of marketing and selling. And that includes photography, videography, everything. We have never had any agency whatsoever in the company. There isn't a week which passes by without somebody from the startup community reaching out to either me or Ankita, asking how do we manage our marketing and all that stuff. Because our content is pretty solid. Even that is in-house. So of course, if you're keeping marketing in-house, product had to be in-house, because that is the core, right? What we do outsource is, of course, the manpower, right? And I'll give you a quick example on this, Siddhant, right? Even if you look at some of the brands like the market leaders like Nike or Lulu, none of these brands, even today, they don't own even a single machine or a single factory, because that is a very different business model. You can always have agreements or exclusivity signed with factories, with their vendors. You can promise them, business for, let's say, next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and all that stuff, and let them manage the factory floor, the labor, the manpower, the machineries. But as a brand, we have to focus on the research, the product part, the technology part, as well as the brand building, marketing, and customer service. So to answer your question in short, number one, all the research part, all the decision, all the major development process, everything happens in-house. And once all the specs are ready, of course this involves the vendors also, because we do all the research work along with them. And once that final spec is ready, this is handed over to the guy or to the individual or to the company which is doing the mass manufacturing or the bulk manufacturing for us. And they manufacture the product in the bulk. But during this manufacturing process also, what we do is we take two kind of steps. Number one, we place our own team, either hired contractually or hired in that individual location, or sending from Bangalore where we are headquartered. We put them on the line, right? So production is happening. We put them on the line to ensure that there's no quality concern as such. And number two, once the manufacturing has happened, we use some of the best, third-party QC guys like SGS and Intertech with AQL 1.5 standard. AQL is the standard in apparel testing, industry. So we use them to ensure that the garment which is coming out into the warehouse passes every parameter per se. Also, this is only for the apparel manufacturing part. We do a whole separate testing for the technology part. So we have lab in both Mumbai as well as US, who we have partnered with. So technology like Super Silver, they get tested by these labs every time we produce a new fabric to ensure that they last across washes. So for example, Super Silver, we promise that it will last. It has shown 99% efficacy even after 100 washes. So we want to ensure that if somebody's paying $99 for a t-shirt, they should be able to use it up till 100 washes or even more. We test it till 100 washes at least. So yeah, these are the couple of testing, I would say, parameters and testing strategies we put in place to ensure that quality doesn't go down. Right.
Also, so building a brand in this particular category, because this space was and is dominated by big brands, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour has just launched in India. how do you, like, what problems or difficulties you face? Because a lot of people out there have some idea, like, I want to build an apparel brand because I think there's a, but they'll always be taken aback because they know that there are big competitors already in line. So what challenges you have faced here, and what are your learnings which you want to share with people? Because a lot of people want to build a brand which is already dominated by this particular big brand. How do they overcome these challenges?
Right. So one of the things, you're very right about this thing, that the market is fairly dominated by players like Nikes and Under Armours,
Yeah.
especially the product line which we are running behind, right? So by and large, the market is divided into, let's say, two ends of a spectrum. So on one end, you have, all these marketplace-based brands, sub 1,000 rupees, sub 500 rupees products. But let me tell you, Siddhant, that end of the spectrum is absolutely dominated by a brand named as Decathlon. Everybody knows Decathlon, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you cannot even think about, let's say, the scale at which Decathlon operates in terms of manufacturing. They are able to make products which are much cheaper. You can find single polo
Right.
t-shirt of black color 99 rupees in Decathlon.
Yeah.
But then again, they're not promising, or they're not going ahead and saying this is a high quality product, this is a high performance product.
Yeah.
This is just a t-shirt which probably you could use as a sponsorship in a marathon run or something of that sort, right?
Right.
That's a very different game. And on the other side of the spectrum, which is your high performance products, premium products which command high ticket items, all these bigger boys are sitting, like Nike, Under Armour, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, and of course many more international brands coming into play, Asics and Skechers and whatnot, right? So while the market is fairly dominated by these guys, there's also a strong need and a strong white space in between. Because on one end of the spectrum, you have all these bigger boys. On one other end of the spectrum, which is sub 1,000 rupees, sub 500 rupees, you have Decathlon and many other marketplace-based brands. In the middle, there's a huge gap, which kind of where, people kind of keep looking for high-end products, keep looking for, products which can fulfill their needs, especially when it comes to performance activities like running, CrossFit, marathon, yoga, and all that. Now, that is why when I said, when we started speaking, I mentioned that for both Ankita and me, we knew that we are not getting into the business of selling t-shirts. Because the moment you start thinking that, okay, I have to sell a t-shirt, you first thing that comes into picture that you go and make a t-shirt in a great hub like a Tirupur, Ludhiana for $150 and start selling on Amazon. Even if you make for $150, you sell for 600 rupees, you already have, that's 4x margin to kind of, great. But then when it comes to, kind of competing with these bigger boys, Nike, because, aspiration wise, Siddhant, I mean, aspiration of entire country, pretty much entire world still lies with the bigger boys, right? Because I always kind of bring this in during conversation that if you and I were to go and ask 10 of our friends, or let's say random readers or listeners in this conversation, what do they want to wear for the next workout, yoga, running session? The answer is always Nike. Right? I mean, nobody on a good day wakes up and says that, today I'm going to buy XYZ brand on certain marketplace. That never happens. People do not buy, or people do an impulsive shopping on marketplace primarily because price points are not affordable all the time for Nike, right? So that's why the wide gap is there, because if there's a brand which is able to bring a product of same quality or even better quality at friendlier price points, using different models like D2C, community approach, community-based marketing, then there's definitely a market to be disrupted. There's definitely a market to be cracked. Now, this is a fairly, large brand-driven model as well, right? So while, all these, as I said, Nike, Adidas, Reebok, Under Armour, they command the market. They have a great brand value. But many a times people forget that they command the brand, they command the market because they have absolutely amazing products, right? So now when we start as an Indian brand, or when any other, new founders or new entrepreneurs start, if they directly start chasing the brand building without actually getting the product right, then it's absolutely destined to fail. Because, you and I could go ahead and run probably some of the best digital marketing campaigns in the world. We can hire celebrities, we can hire sports people. And we have seen all that happen in India. I'll not take any brand name, but we've seen all that happen in India and still go down the drain. And that is because product was not right. So when you ask me, Siddhant, that, what was the biggest challenge in actually even thinking about tackling some of the big boys in the industry, it was always the product. Right. You won't believe it took us, Ankita and me, 18 months to get the first product right to where we wanted, and we were still not like 100% satisfied. And this is an ongoing process, right? I mean, Super Silva, we had thought in 2019 and in 2019 later early to 2020, and then we were actually able to get Super Silva out in 2021 July for the first time, right? So it's a very long process. We do not compromise on the quality of the product. I think that was one of the biggest challenge, hurdles, or something which we could not have compromised, I would say, to get the product right. Without that, it's difficult to challenge any of the incumbents. And you would know, Siddhant, that people even with some of the micro guys with 3,000 Instagram followers have much higher engagement and trust than somebody who has a million followers. Right? We've also been able to build a very strong email community, coach-led campaigns, expert-led workshops, strategies continue to be one of our primary brand awareness channels that we use.